Okay, so I hope my voice is audible. Okay, let me just give it a minute. So, hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be continuing with our application where we have created all the UI part. Only the provider and the backend part is left, and we will be dealing with it in the today's lecture. Okay. Before starting off the lecture, I would really be happy to know about your Holi. I would also ask that how was your Holi? I hope you guys have enjoyed it a lot. And it's been a couple of days since we have not posted videos and all, but yeah, due to festive and off seasons, we were unable to shoot it. But yeah, after a quick break, we are back with the video, and we will be continuing with our lecture where we will be starting with the backend part and also creating the meaning RESTful APIs for our application. Okay, so without wasting, let's get started. So the first thing that I'm gonna start here is it by checking that whether my okay, so I hope that everything is running properly. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show you that how exactly our backend front end looks like. So this is sign in. After sign in, we have issue documents, then you have other documents, and then you have quick links. If you will go to my profile here, you have options like date of birth, gender, and all. Okay, so if you want to change it, you can change it from here. Then inside this, you have forget pin, about, and all these. Okay, so yeah, if you will check for this, here you have about your own, sort of applications here. So yeah, these things we have created in the UI part. You can be creative and you can customize your own and create your own sort of modifications, and yeah, just let me know that how exactly it goes for you. And the source code for this is available on my GitHub. Here you can see my GitHub is there. So in this you can just have to type github.com/amok624 at the rate gmail.com. Oh, sorry, amok62409, and here you will be able to see the code. Inside this, you will go for repositories. Inside the repositories, you have, see this one, Pocket ID GFG, and in this you can get your own sort of full data. Okay. Now, what you can do, you can check for this, and also you can, if you have any sort of questions regarding the UI, any issues, doubts, you can just message me and ask me the doubts. Okay. So now let's get back to the code. So what we are going to do, we are going to be creating this basic, login registration part where you can see, like, I just have to write here npm start, and my backend will be started. And here you can see that my MongoDB is successfully connected, and also I am able to see my localhost over here. Okay, so you can see this is my localhost, which says hello world. And if I will even go for about, we will be able to see about page as well. Okay, so our backend is working. So let's just create this particular backend and we will be able to achieve our code. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna close this out and we will be starting our own. We will be starting our own file. So let me just open out the folder. Okay, so login page for okay, type DGFG. So inside that it's in projects. Okay, so Flutter basics. Let me open a new window here. And inside this new window, we are going to open Flutter basics. Okay, yeah, so this is Flutter basics. Inside Flutter basics, yeah, you can see that we have all the different applications. So inside this, you can see we have Pocket ID, GHE. So Pocket ID, Pocket ID, GFG. Okay, and after that we have to write backend. Okay, so yeah. That's it. Pocket Live GFG backend. Okay. Then I'm just gonna do here what I'm gonna write code Pocket ID GFG backend. Okay. So, and as soon as I will hit enter, now you can see that I have been redirected into this particular directory. And inside this directory, I'm just going to open terminal. And inside the terminal, we are going to start with our code. Okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to continue with some of the thing. The first thing that I want to implement is, we just close this out. Okay. So the first thing that I want to implement is I want to make sure that npm and everything is installed. You can just do one thing. If you want to install npm, you can just go here and you can search for node. Okay. So inside this, you can see node here. You have to download node and you can just continue. So what you can do, you can just refer this whole series that we were doing till now. Okay. Inside the series, you will be able to see that we have successfully done all the things like, let me close this out and yeah. Inside this, you can see that we have already done. Yeah. So inside this, you can see we have already done the basics like MongoDB, Node.js installations, essentials, and everything. Okay. So you can just watch this series and you can just continue with it so that you will be able to achieve all those things and all those particular output in it. Okay. So yeah, let me just do one thing. Let me close this out and we'll head back to our folder. And inside this folder, I'm just gonna write what npm init. Okay, as soon as I'll write npm init, we are going to get initialization. So what you want to keep the backend? Yeah, I'll keep everything the same. Description is this is the backend for the Pocket ID application. It's a Pocket ID application like that. I'm gonna write it. Okay, then entry point is index.js. Yeah. The test command, then Git repository, you can add your own keywords and authors. I'm gonna leave my name as the author here and license nothing. And then, yeah, that's it. So we have created our very own package.json. Okay. Now inside this package.json, I want to install some of other things as well. Okay. So what all things I want to add inside this? I want to install a couple of tools here. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll write npm I. And inside npm I want to make sure that we get a couple of things like, for example, bcrypt. Okay, so bcrypt will be used for encrypting. So bcrypt, then you have express, then you have nodemon, then you have mongoose. So yeah, and after mongoose, you have JSON web token. So JSON web token. And yeah, that's it. Let's just install these. It's gonna take a minute or so because I have, installing 4 to 5 libraries just like that. So yeah, it's gonna take a minute or so, and within that it will be done. So you can see that it has successfully added. Now, if you will go to the package.json, you will be able to see bcrypt, express, JSON web token, mongoose, and nodemon. Okay. And here we have text commands as well. So right after this text command, I want to add the start command. So what I'm going to add for start, I'm going to add node index.js. Okay, that's it. And what we are going to do, we are going to add for dev, we are going to add node one index.js. Okay, so we have done basic changes. So for development, when we are developing or when we are using it for development purposes, we are going to use nodemon. Otherwise, when we are basically using it for standard purposes, we are going to use index.js node. Okay, that's it. Now the final library that I also want to install is body parser. So let's just add body parser also in it. So what I am gonna do, I'm gonna add body parser here. So body parser like that. Okay, this one is also been added. That's it. Okay, so it's done. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a very basic file and I'm gonna name that file as index.js. So index.js. Now inside this index.js, we are going to be using a couple of basic things. So what I'll firstly start with const port. So port equals to 3000. Okay. Currently, I'm just going with a basic port. And what it is, then you have to write const app equals to inside the app. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write require express. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna call express here. Now what I do, I'll write app dot get, or if you're going to call express, then what you can do, you can just start by calling express. So const express. Okay. Now I'll write what here? I'll write we will basically define const app equals to express. Now the same procedure. So app dot get. Okay. Now inside this app dot get, we are going to call for the entry point. Okay. This is basically the entry where it's gonna start. Now what it's gonna take firstly a request and then it's gonna provide a response. Okay. So request and response. And right after this, what it's gonna pass us with some response, right? So response is res dot send welcome to Pocket ID backend server. Okay, so you can add backend like that. Okay, that's it. So what it's taking, it's going to give us the response at the default location that yeah, this is your location and it's all. Okay. Now what we can do, we can just start by currently adding nothing. So like npm, what we call it is we are basically going to call here npm start. Okay, so what I'm gonna add npm start. Okay, so yeah, you can see our npm has started, and that's it. It's nothing showing us, nothing is giving us. So if you want to see what exactly is happening, you could write npm run dev. Yeah. Now you can see npm run dev, and what it says that nothing actually, it's not giving you any sort of output. But what you will do, if you will go here and if you will write localhost 3000 and you will just wait for a second, you will be able to see that you are getting actually nothing in this, right? So what we will do, we will add few of the more things here. Firstly, I'm gonna write what app dot get. Okay, so not app dot get, app dot listen. Okay, we basically have to assign that at which particular port we are listening, right? So firstly, we have to listen on the port which we have already specified above, and right after this port, what you do, you have to also return it. So yeah, console dot log. Okay, inside console dot log, we are going to even tell us that yeah, your particular server is running on board particular blah blah blah. Okay, that's it. So now you can see that it says that your server is running on this port. But what you have to do, you have to go and check it yourself. So if I reload, now you can see it's particularly running. Before, what was happening, we were writing the API, we were creating an API, but we were not explaining that at which particular port it should be there, right? That's why we were not unable to get that. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add full link, that is HTTP, localhost, and all that. So now if you will click here, you can directly access the link. Okay, you can see directly I'm able to access it. That's why I have done this. Okay, so you can see our basic API has been successfully created. Now what we are going to do, we are going to start with few modifications here. Okay. So what will be the modifications? Firstly, I'll create a couple of folders here. So the first one is the controller. So this is a controller. And after controller, we have the database folder. So this is the database folder. Then you have one more that is models. So yeah, this is the models folder. And right after models, we have routes. Obviously, you are going to specify which file should be redirected where and where exactly it should go. So that is for routes. And then you have services. So for services also, we have created a different folder. Okay. So these are all about the folders that we are going to create. Now inside this database, we are going to create a very basic file and I'll name it as db.js. Okay. Now what exactly this db.js will do? db.js will import our database. Okay. So I'll write const. Okay. And what inside the const I'm gonna write? Const I'm gonna write mongoose equals to require mongoose. Okay. Firstly, I'm calling mongoose there. And right after that, we are going to set a connection. So const connection, okay, equals to mongoose dot connect. Okay. And right after this connect, we are going to call for oh, we are going to call for a very basic link. Okay. What exactly I'm gonna call this out is I'm gonna create a link here. So it's basically localhost link. Okay. That's it. So object ID GFC. Okay, so forget ID GFC like that. I'm gonna create it out. Okay. So this will be our link here. Let me just firstly create it like this. Okay. So we have successfully added the link, and right after this, I'm gonna write one more thing. Dot on. So what this on will do, it will ask whether the link is particularly opening or not. Okay, so when it's opening, what we have to write, we have to write open, and after that, if the link successfully opened, we are going to return a message that DB has been connected. So what I'll write console.log connected to MongoDB. Okay. Otherwise, what we will do on if we get any sort of error. So error, then we are going to return that we have detected some sort of error here. Okay. And right after this error, I'm gonna print the particular error. Okay. So console.log. Okay. Inside console.log, we will write MongoDB connection error, and then we are going to basically print out the error. Okay. That's it. Now I'll write module dot export, and we are going to export our connection here. So yeah, that's what we have done. Okay. So now you can see that we have successfully created connection and we have now exported our connections as well. Okay. Now what I will do, our database has been done. Now we will use one more file. So I'm gonna add the file that is app.js. Okay. Index will be our entry point and app will be the place where we create or redirect it. So, okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to write const express. So const express equals to require. Okay, so require and inside require, we are going to write express. Okay, so that's what we are going to write. And after that, I'm going to write const app equals to express. The same thing that we did in the previous file, the same thing we are doing over here. Okay, that's what we have done here. And right after this, we are going to call app uh, module dot export equals to app. Okay, so we have exported our module also. So now what we will do when we have successfully exported our module, we don't need to write these things again and again. So just want to specify app equals to require, and right inside the require, I'm gonna write dot slash yeah, app, because we are basically calling our app.js. So that's what we are just going to write there. Okay. And also I'm gonna call for db. So const db equals to require, and right after require dot slash database slash db. Okay. That's what we are going to use it. Okay. Dot connect dot on is not a function. Okay. So let's check what sort of error we are facing inside our DB file. So let me just open our DB file, and inside the DB file, we are facing some sort of issues here. Let's check format. So const connection equals to mongoose dot connect. Not, it's not a thing connect. We have to write create connection. Okay. Now it should not throw any sort of error. Yeah. You can see it is not throwing any sort of error, and it also says that we are successfully connected to MongoDB. Okay. So you can see that we have successfully created our very basic application backend server actually. And inside the server, we are also able to call for an API and also able to, create a basic response over here. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a couple of more things inside of this. Okay. So yeah. Let me just do one thing. This is our basic part. Let me add more points to it, like app.get, app.get. So inside that, I'm gonna add test. Now this test will do what? This test will print out that yeah, we are basically testing our API. And similarly, I'm gonna write app.get, and inside the get, we are going to do this time write about, yeah, slash about. That's it. Okay. So about API, test API, that's it. Now let me open our API here. It's have been opened here. Let's just yeah, check this out. So we have basics, then about, so about API, then test. Let's check whether our test is working. So now, so test, yeah, test is also properly working. So test is working and all the other parts are working as well. Now let's do one thing. Let's focus on upcoming things. That is, let me open this out here. Yeah. So what we are going to do, we are going to now start with few other files. That is our body parser and our user routes. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write const body parser. Okay, so const body parser equals to require body parser. And also we are going to write const user routes equals to require, okay, routes, and inside the routes we are going to call for user routes. Okay, so that's it. Now let me go to the routes, and inside the routes we will start working with a file. So now I'm gonna create user routes. Okay, dot yes. So this is the file user route.js. Inside the user route.js, we firstly need to create controller. Okay. Now controller will be only possible if we create the services. Okay. And inside the services also, we need to create models. So the first thing that we have to start with is models. Models. Okay, so yeah. Inside the models, what we are going to do, we are going to write user models .js. Okay. So inside user models.js, we are going to basically create very basic schema. Okay. So what the schema will be doing, the schema will be ensuring that our database has particular entries or not. Okay. So yeah, DB will be requiring a database. Then you have first vcrypt, and we are going to call vcrypt, and then const mongoose. Okay. So we are going to also require mongoose. Now inside this, I'm gonna call for schema. So const schema. Yeah, schema equals to mongoose, and yeah, that's it. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write const user schema, okay, equals to new schema, and right after this new schema, we are going to create the first thing that we are going to ask for the user is an email. So email will be of type string, and then it will be also required, and also it will be unique. Okay. So that's it for the uniqueness. And you can also add lowercase true. Okay, and then there are much more things like match also you can write. So for match, you can add few things like slash, backslash, and at the rate, and everything should be there or not, or things like that. Okay. So that will ensure that whether your particular um, schema matches is out or not. And right after email, we have password. Okay, so password. Okay. Now this password will be containing only two things, that is string and also required. Obviously a password is required. That's it. Minimum length 6. Okay. And right after this, what we are going to do, we are going to call in for timestamps. Okay. So this timestamps will ensure that we will get to know at what particular time or at what particular stage it was created and stayed. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do, user schema dot read. Okay. Now inside this pre, I'm gonna firstly save it. So save, and now this saving is an async part. So what I'm gonna do, asynchronous function. Inside this asynchronous function, we are going to call that var user equals to this. Okay, and inside this, what I'm gonna write that if the user is modified, so if not user, no, it's modified. So if user is modified with what password? Okay, so if the user modifies the password, what you are going to do, you are going to return. Okay, otherwise, what we are going to do, otherwise, we are going to try one more thing. So we are going to write that const called equals to await bcrypt, and inside the bcrypt, we are basically generating some salts. Okay, so generating salt sync, and right after this we are going to also call const hash equals to array bcrypt dot hash sync, and now inside the hash sync we are going to call for user dot password, comma, the value which we are going to store inside this is the salt value. Okay. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write user dot password equals to hash. Okay. So we are basically providing the user with the password that user asked for. Okay. Now, otherwise, what you can do, you can write catch, and inside the catch, you can write for any sort of errors here possible. Okay. So that is what our model is supposed to look like. Okay. And now let's just quickly go and quickly create some comparison files. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write user schema here, user schema dot methods dot compare password. Okay. And inside that, we are again going to call an asynchronous function, which will take password. And inside this function, we are basically going to try two things. The first thing is that we are going to write console dot log password. Okay. And then we are going to write const is valid equals to await bcrypt. Okay. Dot compare sync bcrypt dot compare sync. And inside this compare sync, we are going to call for password and this called password. Okay. That's it. And after that, we are basically going to return our is valid. Okay. So this will be our try function. And similarly, we will write catch, which will just be an error, and this error will be called like that. Okay. Now, what I'll do, I'll just write const user model equals to db dot model. Okay, inside db dot model, we are going to write for user, comma, user schema. Okay. So let me just keep it better. Now, after this, what we are going to do, we are basically going to export it. So module dot export user model. Okay. So now after doing this, we have successfully created a very basic model here, and this model will help us to tell that we have created a very basic email password. Okay. Now this email password contains only two things. Okay. And let me just do one thing. Let me just close this out and run it to you. Okay. As soon as I will hit run, now you can see that it's particularly running without any error. Now, if I will go to the localhost, you can see that we are having our, okay, so we are having our own sort of data properly working here. So yeah, that's it, what it does. And now let me just do one thing. Let me go to the mongoose to show you that our mongoose is also properly working. Okay, so you can see that inside MongoDB, we will just hit on connect here. And as soon as I will hit on click on connect, now you can see that we have pocket ID here. Okay. So you can see the pocket ID is present here. Currently, it's not created because we have not, added the services and we have not initialized it. But yeah, it will be able to visible here as soon as we touch that. Okay. So I hope you have understood whatever we have learned so far. This was very basic section. I wanted to make sure that it will be very clear and concise so that each and everyone can understand it because the series is all about the basics. So yeah, I'm trying to make sure that everything from the front end to the back end, everything is quite basic. So yeah, this was a very basic API which we have created. and this API works properly. You can see that currently it's working. We have not added the authentication login, but we will be doing that in the next part. Okay. So this was all about this. The code will be available on my GitHub, so you can just go and check my GitHub. And from the GitHub, you will be able to reach me out as well if you have any sort of doubts and queries. So this was all about this lecture. I will see you in the next one. Till then, I hope you have liked the video. Share this among your friends who wants to create such an amazing application using Flutter. And like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss an upcoming video or upcoming update regarding the series. So I'll see you in the next one. Till then, see you, have a great day, and bye bye.